Get started here. First of all, today's a great day for all these guys, not just for our particular players that are signing, but all the guys and student athletes that get to sign across the country. That's a great accomplishment to have somebody come out and feel like you athletically, can play for them, and then to recruit you and to be able to come to a university and through their academic program and be a part of it, be a student athlete for that program. It's a pretty cool day. And I told these guys that sign with us, football is a team sport. Today is the one time you can really individualize yourself and just kind of enjoy the moment, because they should celebrate it. Their families should celebrate it. This is a big day, and you know what? Tomorrow, back to work. Really proud of our coaches for their efforts in recruiting. They did a tremendous job. These guys, we didn't get everybody. You recruit guys and all that. You don't get everybody you recruit. But I know this, we built strong relationships with the guys that we signed. We built relationships with the guys that even went other places. But they did it the right way, never compromised the integrity of our program. They're very straightforward on who we are and what we do and how we do it. And the guys that want to be a part of it are on this list right here. And so sitting in with the high school coaches, the parents, when they leave here and they talk about, the differences between, our coaches and different places and what we do with them and how they interact. That's a big a part of anything we're doing recruiting, is those relationships that we're building. And really, for a lot of these guys, as it got down to the end and more and more offers start coming their way from different schools, as guys start to bug out and go different places, these guys start getting more and more offers. Well, the key factor is not necessarily the programs all the time. It's those relationships you've built with the families and the players, and that's important. They're coming into what we feel like is a special culture, and we want to know all about them as well. So I want to thank our coaches for doing a great job, for our recruiting staff and what they've done this entire recruiting process, all the help that we've gotten throughout this recruiting weekends from our professors, Dr. Custer, Mark Coyle, everybody involved. We could not do this without them. This is truly a team effort when it comes to putting together a signing class in college football. Today is a special day too. Coach Sanford's birthday today, so I do want to give a shout out to him. He's gone backwards. He's 27, so he is having a special day as well, and excited about these guys we signed. Just looking at the list, there was a new one that came in there, Darion Jackson. That's now on the list as well. But as you go through it here, and we can talk about each one of these players. Everybody has a different story, and we're represented in Idaho, Florida, Texas, Arizona, California, and if I'm missing one in there, I think I got everybody, didn't I? Kansas as well. And you can kind of see that California is one of our primary areas. Texas has been good to us. And then, all the way into Florida, where we don't have a heavy presence there, but we've built relationships with coaches, and they understand the type of guy that we're looking for. And you get a phone call from a high school coach and says, hey, this is a Boise State guy. And when they say that, you pick up the phone and you find out exactly what they're talking about. And that's what we found with Marquise and Brian Jefferson, who's been committed to us for a long time. Solid as it gets, and tremendous player. So, excited about the class we've got. I think we filled our needs. We looked at the defensive backfield and said we need quite a few guys in the defensive backfield because we're losing quite a few. We wanted to get bigger in length on the offensive line. That's exactly what we did. If you look at these guys when they come in here, Garrett Larson, Eric Cavedo, these guys coming in here, John Molchon, they look the part, and these guys are going to get bigger, and they all can bend and they all can run. Wide receiver, we talked about, guys in here that have a feel, and I think Keelan Butler is that guy. I watched him play live, and speed. Brian Jefferson shows that on tape, and if you look at him now, he's a worker. He's put the time in. One of the linebacker, between Marquise and Drew, we have good linebackers coming back, so these guys will have opportunities, hopefully, to come in here and learn what we're doing. You'd love those guys to be able to redshirt. Now maybe they don't. They have a chance to play if they're the best players. That's what's going to happen. But then you're going to lose that group of linebackers, and all of a sudden you're going to need some really good players. And I think these guys are to come in there and replace the group that we have. And then D-line, we had 2 guys, Sam Whitney, Matt Locker. You start looking at, where we are moving forward, we're going to lose 7 D linemen. That's going to be a group like we had this year at the defensive backfield. We're going to be recruiting a lot of guys. So, these 2 guys here, we don't really need them to come in and contribute right now if everybody stays healthy. So they have a chance to get bigger. We can marinate them a little bit and give them a chance to develop. And then come springtime, it's on at that point. Then they're going to have a chance to play. We do have an LDS player that's going to go on his mission, Riley Wimpy. And he's a great story. Both his brothers played at Utah State, and Utah State's a tremendous program, and they had a great experience there. And he felt like that this was the place that fit him and his style. And he comes from Utah, goes to San Clemente High School, and nobody knows who he is. He has to prove himself there, and all of a sudden he becomes one of their team leaders and captains for that team as a new guy coming in. Guys on campus now: Cameron Miles, Raymond Ford, Brett Rippon. Those guys are all here. They're in the mix. We did a signing day with them today. We surprised them. We had the team in here. Their coaches had them held behind their offices and made them late, and so they were a little bit scared when they walked in, and everybody in here was excited and clapped for them, and they were able to sign and do the hats, and we had a little bit of fun with it. But that's important. These days, this particular day is extremely important for guys to celebrate it, and so we did that for them. At tight end, Matt Pistone, he's a guy who reminds me of, don't make this an unfair comparison, but Richie Brockle, from a standpoint of that he's really smart. He's multiple with his hand on the ground, backfield, fullback, can run, make plays. And Richie's obviously a guy that's playing at the highest level. But I really like that this guy is very smart and can do a lot of different things. And I know Coach Drink just fell in love with him because of that. And you've seen what we've do with our tight ends and the multiple sets we use. So you look at our class. I really am excited about these guys, and hopefully we'll finish it today. There'll be another one coming in here, and then we'll move on from there. Today is also a big day, as you look forward, to the next one. And there's a lot of action going on that, as you look at the 2016. And the one thing we talked about, in recruiting is, after this recruiting season is over and we're moving on to the next, we're going to scrap everything, go back, look at it, tear it down like we don't know what we're doing, and try to figure out a better way to do it. And Coach Yates brought up a great point. Last year we came off an 8-5 season, a new staff. We hadn't done anything. So there wasn't a whole lot of talk about Boise State, as far as, what's going on there. It was, let's figure it out and see what they do. We come out, we have a fairly successful season, playing a very big bowl game and win it. And I know that caught a lot of attention from guys that, are looking at us now. And so, we'll see how that plays into this next recruiting class. You look at our non-conference schedule, those first 4 games that we get started, that's going to be a great schedule to go out there and play some very good teams and play some teams at home. I know our guys are excited about it, but that will help us in recruiting as well, as we go out there and get prepared for that. So from that standpoint, we're still rolling in the recruiting department. And get these guys all locked in and ready to go for summer. They'll come in here in July, and then, they're ready for action. And we start camp August 5th, 6th, right around there, depending on, when that gets all finalized. Our current team right now, these guys are working. They've already been in the workouts. We got that going. We're doing some different things. But you look at our guys now compared to where they were last year, and, just looking at them, bodies and all that, they look different. They're starting ahead of where they started last year, and Coach Pittman's done a great job. The thing that we've talked about this spring is being further, faster. We're having another year. We're into year 2 together. We need to be further along and faster throughout this spring. As we come out of spring, we need to be ready to play. We get into that first game, you hope you're playing at a level that you're playing against Arizona, that you're ready to go. You're not working your way through all the the things you have to figure out with some guys coming back that are veterans on the team, and there'll be some obvious positions that we have to fill that are new, but for the most part, they can anticipate what we're doing, and if they can do that well, then they can execute better at what we're asking them to do. So we'll celebrate the Fiesta Bowl tonight at Big Al's. That'll be part of the celebration that we have with signing. We'll want to see as many people come out there. This is huge, and I'll say one thing to our fans and our community. One of the biggest things that came and showed up in recruiting was the community, Boise, Idaho, that the parents that came and the players just said, hey, school, all that, there's a lot of stats. You can spin it however you want to. You can look good in every way, but you can't fake the community. And when you go out there and how these people react to them and respond to them, how they see people interact with each other, that was as big as anything that we can't even control as a staff. We just know, and it was exactly what these people had hoped for. That are going to be a part of our program. So I hope today is a great celebration, for our players. That Big Al's is fantastic. We'll have some fun tonight. It'll be entertaining to talk about our players. You guys will enjoy it. People that are there will enjoy it. And, we're excited about talking about these guys and then, kind of putting that Fiesta Bowl year and season behind us, but celebrating, the way these guys went out there and performed this last year. We had an early signing, if you guys had read about that, that came in big on Thursday night. Left shark, came up to be a big one. We're working on another 2016 right shark that will be this next year, so you guys might find out a little bit more about that. But we had this, you're sitting around, this is so serious that we're just sitting there kind of waiting, we're talking to these guys, and there's a little bit of dead time, and Coach Drink is like, have you seen this left shark deal? And I saw it on Jimmy Fallon the night before. They had talked about it, and obviously the Super Bowl, and we came up with a way to talk about this a little bit, and some guys put some tweets out there, and when it got out there, I sent something, and I kind of thought, what the heck did we just do? And all of a sudden it blew up, and it was a whole lot of fun. I think the point about it was from us is, the night before signing day and all that, hey, everybody's stressed out, but, we'll have a little bit of fun. And Coach Yates, if you asked him, before that last drive in the Fiesta Bowl, I got him there, and I had probably one of the best coaching points of my life to him and the defensive staff, and I was very proud of. I just said, hey, if they don't score, we win. And that was it. And I think they got the point. So it was fun, and they didn't, and we won the game, so didn't want to take anything for granted. But that's part of this staff. These guys work really hard. They're really good at what they do, but we have a lot of fun with what we do as well. So that was part of it. And with that, we'll open up for questions.
I know you guys had said coming out of the Fiesta Bowl that you wanted to get back to that idea of having a 4-2-5 on defense, and you didn't have the personnel to do it this year. Obviously, you see all these defensive backs you're getting. How much of that was a factor in what you built here, and are some of these guys designed to be nickels? Well,
here's the thing I've learned about our defense. Everybody's designed to be a nickel, and really it is. I mean, you can take a corner and put it – if a guy is physical, he can play nickel. Simple as that. I mean, we've had Tanner Vallejo played it. We've had other guys play it. Mercy coming back will start at nickel. But any of those guys in the backfield can play nickel. We had a package. Dante Dion was a nickel at one point in a package during the season. And that's what I've learned about the 4-2-5 is depending on who you play. Because why are you going 4-2-5? Because they're spread. You need to stop the run, but you also need to cover. And if you're really trying to stop the run and they're in two backs, put Tanner Vallejo out there. Put a bigger guy out there because they're going to play pro-style offense. You don't really want a DB-type player out there. You want a linebacker. And if they're going to spread you out and try to throw it, you like to have a DB out there rather than a linebacker. And so the way our conference is, and you look at, go to Colorado State, their style, look at what, Coach Bobo did at Georgia. They run some spread, but they'll line it up and they'll run it and pound it too. Well, you're probably talking about having a linebacker in there, a nickel. And then you're playing other teams that spread you out. You're playing Hawaii or a team that wants to throw it, San Jose State maybe this next year, then you probably have a nickel in there. But all those guys, yes, to answer that question, all those guys can play that position. And the way we kind of look at it, hey, we got boundary safety, field safety, nickel. What's the best combination? Because that's really what I think you're looking for. And it's no different than wide receiver. What are your best combination of guys, X, Y, and Z, and how can you utilize them?
When you were going through the list there, you did mention Raymond Sheard, and he has told me today that he signed with a JUCO also. Are you worried at all about his academic issue? Or?
I have no idea where that came from. I never heard that.
Really? Okay.
Really? Yeah, just.
Okay.
Yep. And no, to answer your question.
For a lot of programs, it's a luxury to build with freshmen. You're able to do that. You have 18 freshmen on the list and just 2 JC transfers. Talk about the ability to build with freshmen and the fact that you have only 2 JC transfers.
Well, I think that's, not anything against junior college. In a perfect world, you'd like to have a quarter of your team leave and a quarter of your team come in, right? Is how it works. It doesn't always work that way. You see classes dwindle as they go. So, junior college players, yeah, we've got one. Raymond Ford's in there, Cam Miles, and those guys, they're good players, and they fit, where you need them as far as that class goes as well. Because the one thing, that you're kind of seeing, with the way it's stacked up, and even our D-line, look at all these guys that kind of stacked up on the D-line. You don't want to be taking 7 guys a year. You'd like to be taking 3, 3, maybe 4. That's a lot still, and so we try to spread it out from that standpoint. So you look at the years, you look at how, maybe a guy leaves, there's some attrition and all that, how they're going to come in there and fit that need. The thing about junior college players is you want to have them in, all right, in spring semester. That's the key. If you can get it, and everybody wants them in spring semester because now you've got them spring, summer, and then you're getting ready for fall camp. And so, yeah, that was kind of where we felt like, our needs were. And, some of these high school kids, they're going to have to be able to come in here and, be ready to play. I don't know who that is yet, but they're going to have to be ready. And, you got them for 4 years. You can develop them. And, maybe a little bit more, from that standpoint, coming out of high school because of the years kind of leading up to their senior year.
If you could compare, this year's effort versus last year's effort. Last year, you obviously got here a little bit late, and it seemed like in January, guys were flying in left and right. This year, for the most part by January, you probably knew about 3/4 of the guys that at least had verbally committed, but just being able to set up a plan of attack earlier in the year, how did that help?
Well, a lot more. I mean, not that we don't know, not to take anything away from the previous class we signed, because we felt like that was a pretty good class. Whatever the people that do the numbers and all that, I think this is the second year in a row we signed the #1 class in our conference. So not to take anything away, but yeah, you're finding out a whole lot of information a lot faster than last year's class. This one we were able to spend some time. I wasn't able to get out and see everybody last year. I saw everybody that signed this year. And that took time, to do that, but fortunately we were able to do it. Letting our coaches, when you came in here, you're putting a staff together, you're kind of getting everybody, you're trying to get team dialed in, all sorts of things have got to happen, and you're just trusting the guys around you, hey, this is what we need, and they're attacking, and they did a fantastic job. That was the one thing that right away with our staff, I knew they understood what we were looking for, all right, as far as the culture of this place, and that's probably due to, the guys that I've worked with at Ark State and then the players that are the guys that played here, that are Broncos on staff. This year, we got a chance to sit down and identify exactly. Let's talk numbers. How big, size, speed. What are we looking for? And we said this is what we need, and anything outside of this is an exception. And if it's an exception, then there's got to be something that shows up that says it's okay to do that. And you know what? We really didn't. I mean, you look at these guys on here. Every one of them, fit the mold that we were looking for. And then the characteristic, of the player academically and who he was as a person, showed up. So we had more time to develop that than we did, and it gave us more time too. I mean, I think we did a really good job this year of, putting our product out there. Talking about Boise State, being in social media. Last night, we were all over the place. I don't know anybody else that was more talked about than Boise State, and that's our staff, but that's what they enjoy doing. They think ahead a little bit, think a little bit outside the box, and that's what probably helped us more than anything this year. And those established relationships, because we came in like some of these guys came in this year on our guys. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, what are you thinking now? And it's like, hold on a second, I got a relationship, and we respected that, we understood it too, and that's what you have to deal with when you're kind of behind the 8 ball like that.
Just given what you guys have coming back for the 2015 season, are there any areas in the recruiting class that you wish maybe had been addressed a little bit more?
I don't know yet. I guess, you could say next year the D line, but you got to look at, the defensive backfield, with the nickels, the safeties, and all that, that we have to replace. And the future, when Dante Dion and Darian Thompson and Mercy Maston, all those guys are gone, now you've got to come in there and replace all those guys. I thought from a number standpoint of what we were able to pick up, I thought we hit it pretty good. I don't think that could we have taken another wide receiver? Yes. You could have taken 3 and all that. Do you need them right now? You're kind of talking future. D-line, yes, for future and all that. But I also think that, that's going to be an area, too, that there'll be some junior college players that will surface, for us at that point. And, we still got some young D-linemen that are sitting there, that are going to have an opportunity to play a little bit this year, that are going to show up and be good players for us. So as far as I thought we were really calculated, I don't think that we missed an area that, at the end you're always worried about if somebody flips, you don't get that number, you could hurt yourself. You could make it up somewhere else, but you got to make it up the next year. I don't think we did that. I think we were right on what we needed to do.
First, a couple weeks ago, they got final approval of the cost of attendance scholarships. I'm wondering your thoughts on just the idea of these guys getting an extra, several $1,000s a year, and also if that came up this year in recruiting at all, or if you expect that to be an issue going forward in recruiting.
It definitely came up. It wasn't probably as big of a topic as everybody thought. Let me just say, in recruiting, here, the parents, they want to know. All right, they want to know about, hey, the football and where he fits and all that. They just want to know that he's going to be in a great environment. Who's he going to be around? And when I'm not there to pick him up when he falls, are you guys going to do it? That's what they want to know. And, it's not like how much money is my son getting and all that. Now, the players, because that's what gets brought up by other schools, well, how much are they going to pay you? And I thought this was a little bit comical this year because nobody knows that. And there was like, well, they said they're going to pay me $10,000. I'm like, we'll pay you 20. I mean, just throw numbers out there. I mean, because it wasn't even established. It still isn't. Now, what I do like about that is, yes, that is going to provide financial assistance to some of these guys, that need it too. Some guys, hey, you know what? Mom and dad can pay for some groceries, extra couple $100 a month. Some not, and that's just the reality. And us having the ability to feed these guys, the ability to give them some additional money. And here's what I think. I think these guys that use their money wisely, they're going to have additional money. And you know what? You may walk out of here with, X amount of dollars that could be invested or put towards something that you have a degree. And fortunately for some of these guys, all school paid for, and now you've got extra money that can be sitting there waiting for you. That's a great head start. And so to me, yes, I like it. I'm glad that we're able to do it. It's definitely going to be something that we're going to address because now you're talking more money and ability to do something with it rather than, I mean, we all know, think back, right? You're 18 years old, you're going to go buy that pair of shoes, right? That everybody wants. They're $500 and all that. Well, maybe you can hold off on that a little bit and put this towards something. And when you come out of college, you got a great head start. But yeah, it's going to. Now, when this happens and those numbers get established, and the NCAA comes in and then regulates it, which I think they're going to have to, then that'll come up at that point.
Brett's been on campus for 3-4 weeks now. Just curious the benefits of obviously getting him in at mid-semester. Have you already been able to see any of those yet?
Well, yeah. I mean, you see it. And I know, in the weight room he's done well. This morning we were in here at 4:30 this morning because we had those guys from Florida coming in at 5. He was probably here, at 6:30, 7 o'clock, just getting a chance to kind of grind on some film before he has to go work out and do all the things the rest of the day. So he's seeing the benefit. We're obviously going to see it because he's here. He's going to have a chance to go through spring, to be around Coach Sanford, to see how we do things, figure it out, come out of spring, like, okay, what happened, and then apply that going into summer and be better at it. And then fall camp, hopefully, at that point, it's like, okay, I know, just like we're talking further, faster, he'll be further, faster come fall camp when he shows up because he'll know how he's going to be taught, what to anticipate, what the plays actually look like, and how he's supposed to respond to it. And now it's just playing. And he's going to be stronger than he's ever been, faster than he's ever been, and he's going to be spinning the ball better than he's ever spun it. So it'll be a matter of, what happens at that point.
You had a couple guys, Gary Jackson, Roddy, maybe some more eventually that committed but didn't want it to get out there. As a coach, is that nerve-wracking at all where they tell you they're committing but yet it's not public, so maybe they're telling other coaches the same thing, and that I assume that wasn't your guys doing to tell them to stay silent?
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, you want it. Now, let me say this. I guess what I've learned, I've had guys put it out there that, hey, I'm going to Boise State, and they don't. I like it out there because that confirms, because we can't talk about it, but it does confirm that, hey, I'm going to Boise State, which sometimes for guys that maybe aren't as known and people see Boise State, it is, that guy's got 6 offers in 24 hours. So sometimes it creates a stir as well. And that's kind of some of the reputation that, we have, because it's, it's like a verification that this guy can play sometimes. And yeah, you always want it. I mean, in the mornings I'm sitting there, and yeah, you're a little bit of a mess, waiting for him to come in. And, now I'm sure they look at fax machines like, why do we still do this, and all that. But guys can take pictures of it now and send it in. And they can do it all different ways. But we respect the fact, too, that, hey, I talked to a couple of these guys in particular, even gave them some ideas, hey, Coach, what do you think about, how should I kind of present it? And I'm like, well, here's the ways I've seen it, and here's the way I would do it. And so, yeah, you like to have everybody in, but you also, this is a once-in-a-lifetime day for these guys. And, if you're sitting there, we have most of the papers in and all that, and but we're not going to say it until they do it, and we respect that. But, yeah, is it nerve-wracking? Yes. Do I think they're telling other coaches that? I hope not. As you get to know them and all that, I hope they're not doing that. And I know this. I looked at, our names have come up, that we're offered or recruited so-and-so, and that's not even true. I don't know who half these guys are, but we've offered them, And I asked our coaches this morning. One guy committed to a school, and he had all these Pac-12s and all that. He committed to a school in our league, and we were one of the schools on there. I'm like, did we know this? And like, no, we did not. We knew him, but we did not offer him or anything like that. And you know what? Who cares? It is what it is. But that's just part of it. And social media gets out there, and you can't control it sometimes. And I see things on there, and you want to clarify it, and you can't. You just have to roll with it, and it is what it is at that point.
I got time for 2 more guys.
I think I read on Twitter this morning that Todd Graham got a phone call late last night, and I guess the news that he got made him jump out of bed and start doing a happy dance, quote unquote. With any of those guys that were kind of on the fence today, did you get any phone calls that really kind of, I don't want to say made you do a happy dance, but kind of got you really excited for getting them on board?
Well, the ones today, when they actually came in, I got a few in the last 48 hours. I got a few DMs, with when you get a DM that says, "Hey, Coach, I have a question," and this guy's coming here like, okay, what did you hear? There's a great line from Dazed and Confused from Matthew McConaughey. I get older, they stay the same age, right? And that's recruiting. And you're sitting there, and my wife, I'm sitting there, and she's like, what do you, and she's like, you're always on that dang phone. I'm like, I'm DMing this guy, you know, and I'm like, he's got a question here. I'm trying to, you know, kind of talk him down a little bit. And, but there's a lot of, you know, this is for them, you got to think about it. I mean, this is not buying a car. It's not buying a house. This is what the program you're going to be associated with the rest of your life. And you know what? There's some really good coaches out there, and they recruit really well, and they have good points too. They're trying to sell their program, no different. And you know what? I was a part of one conversation, you know, with a young man that's not coming here. The same thing, going, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" And finally, you get to it, and you know, he said, "Hey, coach, I just feel comfortable that's where I feel comfortable. That's where I fit." At that, I was like, "Good. That's all." If we're talking about X, Y, and Z football-wise, no. But if this is this is where you're comfortable, you know what? Congratulations to you. And I know our guys get that as well. So, yeah, I got a few DMs and had a few conversations just like, "Hey, relax. We're good. I know it's coming in late. You've never been there, yada, yada, yada." And there's some significant schools, you know, that have come in on these guys a little bit late that are great programs. They have a lot to offer too. But the key to it is the relationship, and just like the young man that wants to go somewhere else, guys are saying, "Well, that's where I fit, and it's Boise State."
Coach, any scholarships left? How is that working out for you? And what's your situation on walk-ons? How many and when? That kind of thing.
Yeah, we can't, you know, technically talk about all of them right now, so I'm not going to do that yet. When they're all, you know, have done their applications and things like that, we'll announce it. I think you guys can, you know, look on social media and things to know. But yeah, we got 4 or 5 guys coming in that are going to be able to walk on. And let me say this about it too. I wish we had more scholarships to give. I don't think we recruit these guys any different. We know about them. You know, I mean, I can talk to them. I walked on here. I understand the process of how it is. And, you know, we've had a lot of guys in that situation where it's like, hey, just we don't have it now, but we're not trying to bring guys in to fill a spot. We're trying to bring guys in to play. So these guys coming here, we feel like they can play and contribute. And you know what? If they do, we're going to find a way to take care of them. We've done that. We've shown that. Do we have opportunities for more? Yes. And we'll kind of balance that out as we go. You know, we have the ability to do certain things, and we may or may not do that. And it just depends on, you know, who pops. Is that a need? Is it a more important need than who we have now? And we have to decide that. But where we are right now, I mean, with the class and you know, with some attrition and guys that have left, you know, are not part of the program any longer, and the seniors, and obviously Jay, you know, his situation. You know, we filled those needs, and you know, we'll see what happens through the spring and how things kind of work throughout the summer before, you know, we finalize what we're doing, you know, with all of our numbers.
The other half of recruiting is your coaches. Are all your coaches locked in for next year?
As far as staying?
Yes.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, yes. To answer your question, yes. You know, I tell the recruits and all that. I mean, I know I'm going to be here, you know, and I hope the guys that come in here can help me stay here. That's the only way I'm leaving. But you know, our coaches, I mean, the one thing this year, our coaches got phone calls right and left. You know, people are interested in them, and that's exciting. And the same thing, I mean, there's a reason why, you know, we came from different programs back to Boise. And, you know, will all these guys stay here, you know, down the road? Probably not. You know, it's all said and done. We know that will happen. But, you know, right now we think we're building something special. This is the first opportunity we had to really spend this whole time recruiting a class. Obviously, this last season, you know, showed that we can come, you know, we can be successful here. And so, you know what, I think the families and the coaches on staff, they really are enjoying it. And, you know, it's year to year, and that's how it is. We all understand that, and, you know, hopefully they stay for a long, long time. Okay, thank you.
Were the